And the people who are not in line with Donald Trump are getting reamed for it, right? Specifically Thomas Massie. And he has introduced, I believe, a war powers resolution with Ro Khanna, which basically says, hey, yo, you've got to actually get congressional approval to go to war. You need congressional approval to attack nuclear sites in Iran, right? And here's Massie, and he had this whole interview with Face the Nation where he was pretty upfront about being against this war, about being against the attack of Iran. And this is very fun. This is just my favorite part of it because he claims that there are still reasonable people in the administration. But this is the only Republican, y'all, who's, except for one other, who I will mention in a second, who is against what's happening. The only Republican that's elected.
What he promised us was we would put America first. And I think there are still voices in this administration. You've still got J.D. Vance. You've still got Tulsi Gabbard. You still RFK Jr. You still got calmer heads that could prevail.
They were not.
Wait. He just claimed that the calmer heads in this administration are Tulsi Gabbard, who, even if you believe that, has been completely iced out of decision making. You've got J.D. Vance. Yeah, he's calm, but in a weird calculating, I'm about to murder you type way. J.D. Vance is just in this to launder whatever the hell Donald Trump says. He's got to stay there and keep in Donald Trump's good graces for as long as, Peter Thiel needs him to, until he can assume the presidency when Donald Trump tragically dies. Right? That's his job. These are the calmer heads. RFK Jr. is a calmer head. Yeah. That guy seems calm to me. I mean, I don't know what he's on. I don't know what blue methylene does to the body or roadkill, but I assume you feel calm when you taste tire on top of bear meat. I don't know. But these are guys, mark this down as a sign of the hell we're in when the calmer heads are RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and J.D. Vance. I actually kind of want to puke. That is terrifying to me. There's pushback, obviously.
Not persuasive in this case, clearly.
Well, somebody was persuasive. AIPAC is very persuasive. For instance, the Israeli lobby in Congress. If you look at my colleagues' feeds now, they all look the same. They're all tweeting the same message that we've got to support Israel and we've got to do this. My question is, does 3 bombings and we're
Wait,
done
hang on.
with
you got to stop there, because Massie's saying, okay, what we do know is we do know who won out, and that's AIPAC. And you also have to hand it to a Republican for actually mentioning AIPAC. He's there calling him out, and clearly he doesn't take that money, or he hasn't in a while, or he is ignoring it, or for whatever reason, he's not in on that bag. And other people are. And he's willing to call it out because, of course, Congress has been harangued by AIPAC. Harangued by AIPAC on this, right? Very, very influential. And everyone who's going along with it absolutely receives that money.
Iran's nuclear ambitions. Is that the 2 weeks to slow the spread of 2025? Is this, we were told 2 weeks to slow the spread then. Now we're told it's just going to take 3 bombings. But what happens when Israel gets bombed again? Mm-hmm. Is Trump going to sit by and say, no, we're not going to further engage in this war?
I tried to get answers.
Apparently, that's what he thinks he can do. Donald Trump now saying, you're welcome, world. Enjoy your peace. Signing off, Abraham Lincoln. And of course, for his betrayal, here is Benny Johnson, who is, again, another MAGA influencer, who also, BT Dubs, didn't he also meet with Bibi Netanyahu as part of the sort of Tim Pool right-wing influencers who were hey, I mean, I'm sure Netanyahu was like, there might be a war coming up, and so we're going to need your help. You're going to need your help, who's getting what money? I don't know. I'm not saying they definitely get money, but what's a couple mil What's a few $100,000 thrown at some of these influencers to get them to launder your shit for you? And so Benny Johnson, hell yeah, President Trump is going scorched earth on Representative Thomas Massie. And Trump says, get this bum out of office ASAP. Get this bum out of office. That's his response to Massie saying, hey, you should follow the Constitution and allow Congress to vote on whether or not there's going to be war. Now, there's two other people on the right that have not budged on their anti-war stance. And I have a theory as to why, but I want to just flag and give them some credit and some props that they've been consistent in being anti-war. And one of them is an elected official, the only other elected official who is against, a Republican who is against what's happening, which is Marge. Marjorie Greene is pissed. She says MAGA is not for foreign wars. We're not for regime change. We are for America first. The United States should not be involved in fighting nuclear-armed Israel's war with Iran. And she was on the War Room freaking out about this, telling Steve Bannon, who again is another person who's still against all this, what she thinks.
At all. That's for fixing our $37 trillion debt. That's fighting for border security. That's fighting for my kids, Steve. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. And I want them
And none of them return my calls.
to have a future. And I am sick and tired of people like this. These, a lot of these people are going to be dead in 10 to 15 years. But my kids' future matters to me. And right now, their generation can't buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't get good paying jobs. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford to buy a car. They can't afford gas. They don't know if they're ever going to be able to save money for their retirement because they're barely making it paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. So it's very interesting, right? That she's mad that there's money for war. And she's not mad that Republicans are currently trying to pass a bill, which she's also trying to pass, that is simply and quite literally a siphon from the poorest Americans to the billionaire class. That is all it is. This is to make way for a massive tax break on anyone earning more than $3 million a year. $3 million. So yes, millionaires and billionaires. That's what's happening. That's why your kids can't save for retirement. Oh, also, what retirement? We're gutting Social Security, Marge, and now you're pissed? And so this is my whole thing about people who are right on one issue. Cool. Go away. I don't like, yeah, man, the reason they're mad is because they're not on the in. I've said this a million times. Bannon is pissed, not out of principle. Bannon super supports Israel. He's been asked about Israel. He supports Israel. Marjorie got a little Candace Owens in her. Marjorie got a little bit of that Kanye zhuzh. Marjorie got a little bit of that Alex Jones, je ne sais, anti-Semitism. Okay? These are just anti-Semites. I'm sorry to say it, but these are the people. Not only are they anti-Semites, they're raging Islamophobes, and you can be both. And they're not on the in either with AIPAC money, because look, if you're AIPAC and you're like getting all the, you're getting donations from, sort of like wealthy Zionists in the United States and abroad, and you're like, and we donate to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's not going to fly. They do love to donate to Republicans, but just not that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason that some people are against this, and it's not on principle, and it's not for the bullshit reasons that she's laying out there. These are people who simply want to bring the war home. Los Angeles right now, still 2 weeks later, is under attack. Immigrants are being tackled at their workplaces, at car washes. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on the show. But that's the war coming home, arresting Brad Lander, city comptroller of New York, arresting judges. That's all fine and good, man. So miss me with trying to work with any of these people. It's like, nah, they can work with themselves. I don't care. I'll be over here building an actual movement for liberation. I will be over here with the vast majority of us, with the vast majority of maybe people who voted for Trump, sure, who say no more war. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And the reason I can't have a retirement or afford a home is because of the billionaire class completely swindling all of us. That's where it's at. So like it's fun to see Alex Jones tweet what you voted for, what you got. I hope this is not the case. This was days before the attack. It's Donald Trump and then Donald Trump as Bush, which is deeply upsetting as an image, I will just say. Mostly because it makes me feel old and it makes me feel like this is like some sort of fever dream I've just had. So cool. All of the most psychotic conspiracy theorists are against this. All of the people who don't really have the president's ear. I will applaud the smallest applause. But for the people who actually have power, they're trying to hang Thomas Massie out to dry. And anyone who would speak out against this. Here's Mike Johnson.
But quickly with the war in Iran and Israel. Tom Massie is a Republican from Kentucky. He has joined several Democrats saying this is not our war. Even if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution. Should we get further involved today?
Thomas Massie is on the wrong side of this. And I think that's very clear. We are in a defensive posture right now. The president is making the right decisions. Why? Because, Bill, we have to protect U.S. assets and obviously our personnel. We got 40,000 U.S. service members stationed in the region over there. That is what the president is doing. He's fully within his authority to act in that manner. And that is what the commander in chief is supposed to do. We have to stand by our ally, Israel. They're our closest ally and friend, the only stable democracy in the region. And we have to make sure that they can do the job they need to do to protect their citizenry. Iran was very close to nuclear capability. And President Trump has been crystal clear throughout his career in politics by saying that Iran can never have nuclear weapons. They would use it against Israel immediately, and they would use it against the U.S. if they could. So it had to be stopped. And I think most of the people in the world who think in common sense terms applaud that. The president wants peace in the region. He does not want to be a wartime president. But we have to protect our country.
But we have to protect our country that's not under threat and our country that is Israel. And he lies. He lies. And he's smart. Okay? Anyone who knows Donald Trump can see and can hear. He's very smart. Everything is a projection on the right. Everything is a projection and I don't just mean the right in the US, but these are the dumbest people alive. These are the worst people. These people who are governing our country right now couldn't be more in over their heads than anyone has ever been at any time. Like, seriously. Like, I don't know. You taking the bar exam unannounced is less over their head than this administration. And number two, the only people who have nukes in this situation is Israel. And we all know it. And Bibi, over the last 30 years, has been saying that Iran's about to get a nuclear weapon. Iran's about to get a nuclear weapon. Iran's about to get a... Where is it? Where is it? It's not there. And your intelligence has shown that it's not there. You don't want an Iran deal. And you will kill and maim anyone who tries to bring you closer to that. And of course, you'll threaten Trump in different ways, but you'll mostly just shower him with praise and money and promise him all the jewels and riches. And if there is regime change, Palantir's there to collect and you'll get rich as well. Maybe Iran will be the first crypto-run government. You know what I'm saying? We won't even have to install a Shah. We'll just have an AI president. He'll be like, he's super steeped in Iranian culture, okay? Speaks the language perfectly. It's incredible. But is just an AI bot and is not real and loves Israel. Loves Israel. Really into the house music scene over in Israel. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do